Hi there, this is Maths with Angela. We're looking at volume here, okay then, and we're also looking at upper bounds and lower bounds. So they're the two, and we're looking at volume, and this is a hemisphere. Okay, so let's read the question. So a clay bowl is in the shape of a hollow hemisphere. So that means that this bit in the middle has been scooped out. Okay, and they tell you the radius of this scooped out bit so that you can work out the volume of it. And similarly, they tell you the radius as if it wasn't scooped out, which is from the middle to the edge, which is 8.2. Okay, so you can, if this was a straightforward question, you'd work out the volume as if it wasn't scooped out, then work out the volume of the scooped out bit using the 7.7, and then take them away. Okay, so we are actually going to do that, but the numbers we're going to use are slightly different from 8.2 and 7.7. So the difficulty here is that both measurements are correct to the nearest 0.1. Okay, so that means these numbers have been rounded to the nearest decimal. Okay, we want to know what the upper and lower bounds of each of those measurements are so that we can work out the upper bound for the volume. Okay, so let's look at each of these numbers here and find their boundaries. So let's take 7.7. Okay, so here, if it's been rounded to the nearest one decimal, then we're going to go to 2 decimals to say what the lower and upper bound is. So the lower bound is 0.5 below this, which is 7.65. So to 2 decimal places, this is the smallest number that rounds to 7.7. Now, the upper bound is a boundary. It's not the actual one that rounds to it, but it's the boundary of it, which is 7.75. Now, I know that this would round up to 7.8, but this is just the boundary that we use. Okay, we can't possibly use the number 7.74999999 in the calculator to calculate it. So we say that, okay, our answer is less than this. Okay, we're going to do the same with 8.2. So the lower bound is 8.15 and the upper bound is 8.25. Okay, so we're going to use 2 of these numbers, one from the 7.7 boundaries and one from the 8.2 boundaries. And this is the difficulty to determine which one of these numbers we use. So if we want the upper bound of the volume of clay, we want to be the maximum amount as if it wasn't hollowed out. Okay, so that means we would use this one here. Okay, and then we want the minimum amount of hollow taken out. Okay, so we're going to use this one here. Okay, and that will give us the maximum amount of clay. So we go as big as possible on the amount of clay as if it's not hollowed out, and then the minimum hollow taken out the middle. Okay, hope that makes sense. So we're going to write our formula for working out volume of a hemisphere. So the volume of a sphere is 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. Okay, and we are going to half that. Okay, so that is our formula, one of the things that you should remember or put down on a piece of paper, and the last thing you look at before you go in the exam. So what I want you to do is I now want you to use that formula to work out the volume using these 2 numbers, and then if you can, you need to leave it in terms of pi. Okay, alright, so something pi. So you're going to multiply all the numbers together, so in other words the half, the 4/3 and the r cubed. Okay, you can use a calculator for this, but then just leave it in terms of pi afterwards. Okay, so have a go at that. If you understand that, then you can work out the volume of just the clay by taking the 2 volumes away from one another. Okay, and leaving it as something times pi. Okay, so pause and have a go. Okay then, right, so here's the answer. So I'm going to work out the volume of the clay as if there's no hollow. So I've got a half, 4/3, times pi times 8.25 cubed. Okay, and then I'm going to take away the other one, which is a half of 4/3 times pi times 7.65 cubed. Now, on the calculator, I'm just going to multiply all the numbers together and leave it with pi at the end, okay? So I do a half times 4/3 times 8.25 cubed, which gives you 374.34375, and then obviously pi is at the end. Then I'm going to take away the other one, same thing, half times 4/3 times 7.65 cubed, which leaves you with 298.46475 pi. And then all I do is take the two numbers away and leave it as this number, take away this number, pi. Okay, and this leaves you with 75.879 pi. So the K value is 75.879. Hope that was helpful. This was quite a difficult question, so well done if you got it. Okay, bye.